I'm a big House of Cards fan, but I have not watched a single episode of the new season because I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah. Welcome to 6 Beers of Politics. I'm the Greg. But did you have to, like, you know, ram it down my throat?
Your fucking timer has got to go. What do you mean, Gregory?
What do you mean, Peppery? Oh, that dirty feeling is totally alleviated.
I wrote down a fucking C!
What?
Just thinking of ramming it down your throat.
Welcome to 6 Beers of Politics. I'm Greg.
I am Pep, and behind the camera, making technical magic, is Emil.
We are going to talk about politics while we drink 6 beers and see if we can still make sense.
And at the end of the 6 beers, we're going to stop talking about politics, which is what we recommend everyone do.
So, as we're taping this, G20 going on in Hamburg, Trump, Putin, and yeah.
Trump is meeting Putin for either the first time ever or like the millionth time,
right,
depending on when you ask Trump.
I do not know Putin. I've never met him. But that said, great friend of mine, he's super friendly. Will Trump bring up the subject of Russian meddling in the US election of 2016? Trump was like, I totally brought it up. I gave him a thank you note. Keep it simple.
The story is that Trump's staff did not successfully get him a hotel room in Hamburg, which I don't know if that's true or not. I think it's true. And I guess it's probably hard for Trump to get an Airbnb because you probably don't get such great reviews when your host family comes home and they find their bed soaked with prostitute urine.
Hopefully Donald Trump will wrap up the G20 summit in Hamburg with some historic speech, some big moment. Maybe he will echo the immortal words of John F. Kennedy and say, Ich bin ein Hamburger. Why do so many Americans still support Donald Trump? Like, you know...
What is it, like 35%?
The amount of Trump supporters who still support Donald Trump has not really wavered, and
telling hand gesture, but still support. You rewind it, you'll see that he made that hand gesture.
So we were also talking about Mike Pence. You know, if Mike Pence ends up as president, will America be better? Look, he's clearly, he's got a little Trump in him. He likes to take the law into his hands sometimes. Do not touch. Oh, that rules don't apply for Mike Pence.
Right, for Mike Pence it's space equipment, and for Trump it's pussies. But still, and there's a toucher's privilege, white toucher's privilege that they get.
In Mike Pence's home state of Indiana, they now have this war memorial.
Yeah,
a war memorial for the war on terror.
Well, that sounds all right.
And there's the bench that they had carved in stone that has a typo in it. It's the war on terrorism. Not to be confused with the war on terrorism.
How do you fucking make a typo in stone? What is he thinking? What's the matter with you?
Tick, 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 tick.
Thou shalt not kill. Oh, fuck. Don't you run your carving through spell check first? Come on. What the fuck's the matter with you?
So now the designers put some piece of tape over it.
That's the solution?
North Korea, big news. They fired an intercontinental ballistic missile, which could reach, you know, a lot of places, partly part of America.
But it's genuinely scary. Well, nobody can stop shit. You can't do anything in North Korea.
If Trump really wants to make a difference in the world and have everybody, even Trump haters, say like, huh, he actually really succeeded where those other guys failed, he could make a deal with China that China would crack down on
That's his claim to fame, deal maker.
A deal with Xi Jinping from China. I had him at Mar-a-Lago, Xi Jinping, very nice. He's named Xi, but he's such a nice, he's a manly guy. He had a great time. We had so much chocolate cake. The chocolate cake was fantastic, so amazing.
But what about North Korea?
We made a deal. We made a great deal.
A great deal.
We had a great deal of chocolate cake.
hilarious moment of July 4th was at NPR, National Public Radio. NPR was tweeting the Declaration of Independence. Declaration of Independence, very important document. It's the document we celebrate on July 4th, signed famously in very large letters by John Hancock because he wanted his signature to be legible so that the king could read them without his spectacles. That's why, allegedly, he signed it so big. Anyway, Declaration of Independence, but nobody's familiar with the document, really. And so NPR tweeted it, 140 characters at a time. And these angry Republicans were like, whoa, when you talk about a tyrant, when you talk about a mad prince who's not, who deserves to be overthrown, we get it. And how dare NPR talk about insurrection? What a day to do that. They didn't recognize it as the Declaration of Independence. They thought it was like anti-Trump stuff. By the way,
which it was.
It probably was.
It's National Public Radio.
It probably was. It probably was a little. They probably got the parallels, NPR. I think it's funny that the Republicans were outraged. I bet they were making a secret message, and it reminds me of the whole Pizzagate thing, where people in Hillary's campaign, there were some emails, and they mentioned cheese pizza. Oh, get the cheese pizza, and people like cheese pizza, CP, child pornography, and it clearly wasn't about child pornography. But for me, the secret story that nobody's talking about on the left is I bet that CP was about something.
All right.
You're not supposed to email about something.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying it was
cash payment, maybe
cash payment, crooked policies.
Oh, yeah.
Clinton's penis. It comes up a lot. Like, who knows?
It comes up a lot. It still does. I can't help it.
If I get too old, I'm just going to tie a popsicle stick to that baby and keep her going. Hey-oh.
Her.
All the great ships are ladies, including the SS Clinton's penis.
CP.
Let me christen it with this bottle. Oh, why'd I do that? Uh-oh. I've just emptied my third beer, and you know what that means?
That means it is time for us to go.
That's what are you doing, looking for another? That's our last beer. That means we're going to stop talking about politics. This has been 6 Beers of Politics. Thank you very much. We hope you join you next time. We hope you join you again.
Bye.
I lost Emil on that one. Hey, I finished my, look at this. I finished my third beer. That means we're going to call it 6 Beers of Politics, and then we stop. That was the deal. So we'll see you next time. My name is Pep.
I'm Greg.
Me dude. And that's Emil. Thank you very much. And we'll see you soon.
You protested in Dutch.
Because Dutch is the language of complaining. And that niet doen. You know why? Because niet doen is what I say to my children and my dog.